How you doing, everyone? My name is Ryan, and this is Ade, and here's another edition of Box Talk. Today, sad news. Tommy Morrison passes away from HIV, well, HIV-related sickness. It's a funny thing to mention, you know, everyone looks at life, everyone looks at death. Ade, what do you think?
First of all, get his name right. Tommy the Machine Gun, not Tommy Morrison. It's Tommy the Machine Gun. It's almost a tough one because he's almost best known really for the Rocky 5, but he was a good boxer.
I was a very good boxer.
I mean, we're talking like 44 wins, 38 by knockout.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a sick record. And then look at his 3 losses. He didn't lose to no bums.
No.
I mean, he lost to Pete Lewis, Lennox Lewis.
One of my favourite knockouts of all time, Ray Mercer.
Ryan's favourite knockouts seem to be all about brutal knockouts. It's horrible. It's a horrible knockout. Don't even YouTube it. That knockout should get no view. It's disgusting.
Don't.
Especially on such a sad
occasion. We also got Michael Bent. Michael Bent.
Beat Donovan Razor Ruddock. He had some good wins in there as well. Beat George Foreman.
Yeah, it was close.
He beat him.
Well, after that, Foreman went
knocked out Michael Moore. So it kind of gave him a bit more credit.
I'll tell you what, the thing about Tommy Morrison, what people seem to forget is that he was a very, very good fighter. And he was around in most really the second strongest heavyweight era, which was the 90s. If you had Tommy Morrison around today, I think he'd be number one contender. I think he'll struggle with the Klitschko's, but he'd definitely be way ahead of the current market. I mean, he was a serious fighter.
I think the problem for Tommy Morrison is that he's tarnished a bit. That's the thing for him. I think he himself kind of let the cat sort of out, or the cat out of the pigeons, whatever the phrase is, when he talks about the HIV thing and said, well, it was really steroid related. Yeah. And so he kind of put himself that, you know, he openly took steroids. You look at him, he was a big guy he was a big guy, big back, big shoulders, almost bodybuilder kind of physique. Yeah. And it's kind of physique you don't really see in boxing today at all. Probably only other heavyweight boxer that kind of had that same similar physique was probably Evander Holyfield, where all the muscles were round like a bodybuilder.
On the shoulders.
Yeah. I mean, look at someone like Tyson. Tyson was just stocky.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You look at other fighters, they're just stocky. He had a six-pack and all round, and it was like, so he was almost tarnished a bit from that. And obviously the age thing didn't help. But
I want to talk about stuff like that. I want to say shame on the promoters that brought Tommy Morrison back. I know it was Bob Arum and some people there, but you know, to see him trying to fight 5 years ago, 4 years ago, clearly when he was sick and unwell. If you look at any video of Tommy Morrison in the 90s, even the early 2000s, looked at him in 2007, 2008, 2009, and they had him fighting other people. No, that is disgusting. And for him to pass away of age-related, you should be holding your head in shame.
I think it's not only that he's passed away for age-related, it's an epidemic through boxing. Obviously, Tommy Morrison highlights it, but you got a lot of these greats. I'm not going to put Tommy Morrison in the great category because he wasn't a great, but he was a very good boxer. He held a world title. I mean, yeah, it might not have been the WBC, the top titles that we talk about, but he held a world title. I think it was the IBC. I think Donovan Razor, it was like an IBC title. That doesn't even exist anymore. But regardless, he passed away, and they said he passed away with no money in his account whatsoever. This is a guy that literally found fame, Hollywood fame for Rocky 5. Yeah. He fought some of the greatest out there in terms of that era. Yeah. Was going to fight Mike Tyson after Lennox Lewis lost, and literally he's passed away with no money at 44 years of age.
He might not didn't get the fights he wanted to because of his early retirement. But I mean, if you're in a division with the likes of George Foreman, Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, Donovan Razor Ruddock,
Riddick Bowe, didn't fight him.
I mean, there's so many great names, such a strong era, and his name will always be part of that. He didn't get all the fights due to it, but he did fight the Ruddocks. He did fight the Mercers, the Lewises, the Foremans. I mean,
Ryan touched on it, and Ryan said earlier, arguably the second. A lot of people argue and say that early 90s, late 80s was probably the best. I'm not wrong, all the greats come from the 60s, 60s and 70s, but that era of the 90s was frightening. I mean, it was a frightening era, honestly. All of them didn't fight each other. I mean, we didn't see Tyson versus Bowe, for example. It was a sick era.
If you think about the 80s, 80s is a great heavyweight era. But when you look at marquee names of the 80s, you normally count with one name first, Larry Holmes. And then you have like a Tim with a Spoon coming second and so on.
Crusher Smith.
But when you look at the 90s, there was really no second place.
There was no policy.
It was Tyson, it's Holyfield, it's Lewis. There's so many great names. It's such a big era, I mean. And he competed, held his own, compiled a tremendous record. And like I said, people say he had his flaws and he had this and he had that. Give the man his props.
Give him a chance. Put your head on his left hook and see if you're still standing. He had one of the most vicious left hooks you could imagine. And it's just a shame that obviously through the age related and him going to jail, we didn't see more of him.
Yeah,
I mean, like you say, there's not many white boxers. I mean, Francis Beaufort springs the name. Obviously, the Klitschko's. But in terms of an American, good-looking, marquee white boxer,
last one was Jerry Cooney.
Exactly. That's what happened to him. You know what I mean? And no one really classes Ariola as a white boxer in America. So, no, it's a shame. But what do you think? Leave your comments. I mean, what was his biggest impression? Was it the Rocky 5? Was it the Foreman win? Was it the Razor Ruddock win? What for you? What do you think, Ryan?
I don't know. So the thing about Tommy Morrison is I grew up with him. Like I said, I was quite young when he came out with the Rock and everything. But I reviewed his whole career in the late 90s when I actually really started studying boxing. And as a fighter, as a person, I find him very admirable. RIP champ.
Even when you see his interviews, he seems humble. He seems very humble. I don't know if someone that just kind of accepted what he's got, his flaws.
Yeah.
He's probably seen anything. Imagine that doing a Rocky film with Sylvester Stallone. He's probably been there and I defy anyone not to, at his age, go off the rails a bit after doing that kind of film in Hollywood.
You know, I got an argument with all professional athletes. You give someone money young and they suffer for it. I mean, they don't know how to deal with it. Tommy Morrison died at 44. Today's 2003, so that's 23 years ago he made Rocky. So he was 21 years old. I mean, come on, Hollywood star, major films, Sylvester Stallone, 21 years old.
21, with
a world-class boxer.
Yeah.
I mean,
I defy anyone to not go off the rails a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
You know what I mean? A little bit. And I think what Ryan mentioned earlier about him being in this era now, and that kind of says it all really, how good he was. Because apart from the Klitschko's, everyone's head would have rolled, I think, if he landed. Honestly, I genuinely believe he would beat anyone.
I can see Tommy Morrison beating Vladimir.
Yeah, Vladimir.
Not Vladimir now.
But Vladimir
2002,
Vladimir before Emmanuel Stewart.
Yeah,
he knocked his head off.
Vitali, I think.
Vitali is a monster.
Yeah, but you know,
Vitali's Ivan Drago. And Ivan Drago will beat Tommy the Machine Gun. But no, honestly, we want to send our tributes. So this is a little video just to send our tributes to Tommy,
to his friends and family.
Exactly. I think any boxer dies, it affects the whole boxing community. And I think he gave me a bit of love and a bit of joy for that Rocky 5 and these fights with Foreman. Even before he got knocked out by Mr. Mercer, I still enjoyed that fight as well. So to everyone, leave your comments below. What did you think of Tommy Machine Gun? And we'll get back to you. Take care. Bye.